22nd February, 1913. What a day. I must write to you about it because there is no one else who didn't hate her mother, and who even doesn't hate her children. But whether you were an Italian peasant or a superwoman, I cannot yet find out. But anyhow, your mother was not the enemy. Why does a funeral always sharpen one's sense of humor and rouse one's spirits? This one was a complete success. No burial horrors, no mourners in black, sniveling and wallowing in induced grief. Nobody knew except myself, Granville Barker, and the undertaker. Since I could not have a splendid procession with lovely colours and flashing life and triumphant music, it was best with just us three. I particularly mention the undertaker because the humour of the occasion started with him. I walked to the crematorium with Barker, and there came also the undertaker presently with his hearse, which the horse had been walking conscientiously at a funeral pace through the cold, although my mother would have much preferred a very invigorating trot. The undertaker approached me in the character of a man shattered with grief and high heart as theirs, in rejoicing irrepressibly in my mother's memory, trying to convey to him that this professional chicanery, as I took it to be, was really quite unnecessary. And oh, it wasn't professional chicanery at all. He'd actually done all sorts of work for her, and for years it was actually really in quite a state about her. The coffin. It was covered in violet cloth, not black. I must rewrite the burial service. There are things in it that are deader yet than anyone who has been read over. Still, with all its drawbacks, it is the most beautiful thing that can be read as yet. And the parson did not gabble over it in the horrible manner common on such occasions, with Barker and myself for his congregation, oh, and Mama. He did it with the utmost feeling and sincerity. And to pass it earth to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust, there was a little alteration in the words to suit the process. A door opened in the wall, and the violet coffin mysteriously passed out through it and vanished as it closed. People think that door, the door to the furnace, but it isn't. I went behind the scenes at the end of the service and saw the real thing. People are afraid to see it, but really it's quite wonderful. I found there a violet coffin opposite another door, a real unmistakable furnace door this time. And when it lifted, there was a plain little chamber of cemented fire brick. No heat, no noise, no roaring draught, no flame, no fuel. So cool, clean, sunny. You would have walked in or put your hand in it without any misgiving. Then the violet coffin moved again and went in feet first. And behold, the feet burst miraculously to little streaming ribbons of garnet-coloured lovely flame. All smokeless and eager, like Pentecostal tongues. And as the whole coffin sprang in, it all sprang into flame and all over. And my mother became that beautiful fire. Well, the door fell well. They said if we wanted to see it all through to the end, we should come back in an hour and a half. I remembered the wasted little figure with the wonderful face and said, oh, that's too long to myself. But off we went. And when we returned, at the end it was wildly funny. Mama would have enjoyed it enormously. We looked down through the opening in the floor, and there was a roomy kitchen with a big cement table and two cooks busy at it. And they had little tongs in their hands, and they were deftly picking, getting little nails and scraps of coffin handles out of Mama's dainty little heap of ashes and sample of bone. Mama herself was at that moment leaning over beside me and shaking with laughter. Then they swept her up into a sieve and shook her out, so there was a heap of dust and a heap of bone scraps. And Mama said in my ear, which of the two heaps do you suppose was me? And that very episode was the end. Oh, except for making dust of the bone scraps and scattering them on a flower bed. Oh, grave, where is thy victory? And so, good night, friend, who understands about one's mother, and other things. Good night.